start with yeast. So this is 1.5 cups of lukewarm tap water, and we're gonna mix a packet of yeast. I don't have packets, I have this. And according to the package directions, 2¼ teaspoons of this equals 1 yeast packet, which is usually 1/4 ounce. So I'm gonna get my teaspoons, because I'm gonna get 2¼ teaspoons of this. I'm gonna dissolve it into the lukewarm water. So we want to dissolve this. My mom actually uses her fingers to make sure that stuff gets combined really nicely. The thing about bread making is you can't be afraid to get your hands dirty, and I'm going to not use a kneading hook for this recipe. I'm going to do it on the table and do it the way my mom and my nonna taught me on how to do dough. If this is a kitchen basic, we're gonna get down to real basics. Like pretend you don't have a kitchen gadget to help you out. So you kind of take these clumps and push them against the side to make sure that they get dissolved. We're gonna set that aside. I have 2/3 of shortening. I'm gonna use butter that I've had sitting at room temp. We don't want it cold. I've got 2 eggs, also sitting to take the chill out. We don't really want anything very cold. And we have lukewarm mashed potatoes, roughly 1 cup. I get the package, so you can make yours according to package directions. So I made it, and it's still a little bit nice and warm, but not hot. On the back of your box, if you're gonna use boxed mashed potatoes, which is what my mom and I use for baking, skip the butter, because there's gonna be plenty of butter in this. What I did do though, is I added a splash of buttermilk to this, just to give a little richness to the dinner rolls. You could just use milk. Usually the package directions, it's water and a splash of milk while you cook it on the stove. So set that aside. We're gonna start with 3 cups flour. Into this, we're going to put some sugar, 2/3 of a cup, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. We're going to combine this. We're going to add our mashed potatoes. And a little bit of our yeast. And as you work it, keep making a volcano. And then mishmash in your volcano, and then work it. I'm going to add 1 egg. I'm about halfway down from my yeast. This is when I add 1 of my eggs. And I mishmash it with my hand. And then I knead it in. Now I should say at this point, you know, we're starting with 3 cups of flour. We're gonna need more. We can knead up to about 6 to 8. It's gonna be a very sticky dough. See, we have all that yeast to still add. So at this point, to that 3 cups of flour, I'm gonna add 2 more. This is a trick to get some of your dough off of your fingers, is to dip your hand in your flour and then rub your hands. And the flour kind of rubs off the rest of the dough. See? Okay, that's 1 more cup. Two more cups. I'm going to, before I add more yeast, I'm going to mush up some of this butter. I'm going to add the rest of the butter. So a messy process, but look, it's coming together really nicely. However, I still have more yeast and 1 more egg to put in. So we're at 5 cups of flour. We're going to incorporate 1 more. That'll get us to 6. Might as well crack our other egg while we're at our messiness. Mush it all together like I showed you. This is really the old school way of doing things, guys. This is the way my grandmother made focaccia. If you look at my YouTube channel, my mother shows us how to make focaccia and ravioli, and she does it all on the table, just like this. She doesn't use any kneading hooks. It's all by hand. So hey, get some of your workout. I said this was a sticky dough, and it is. And like I said, we're gonna have up to possibly 8 cups of flour once we're done. This recipe I got from an old 1950s Betty Crocker recipe book. So this is old school. All right, so as you can see, this is way too sticky, right? We're gonna add more flour. Okay, that's 1 cup. So that's at 7. I'm giving this a swirl to make sure I get all of the yeast. And there we go. Everything now that needs to be in here is in here. And at this point, we're at 7 cups of flour. And my guess is we're gonna need that 8. And who knows? You gotta play it by ear if you're gonna need some more. It depends on the humidity of your house, how the flour's been stored. Still a little bit sticky. But almost. So rather than adding the full cup to make it 8, see how it's starting to come together? I think I might just do a half and see where that gets us. The great thing about dinner rolls, making them homemade, this dough can sit in the refrigerator for a week. And it makes about like 4 batches. So you can have it in the fridge and you can make dinner rolls throughout the week. You could also freeze the dough. So I'm only gonna do a half. And I'm gonna have the other half waiting. And I'm gonna see if this is just enough to get it to where it's sticky and elasticy, but not sticky to the point where we can't work with it. And you know what? It's feeling pretty good. I don't think we need the other, but let's just see till this is all incorporated. So you're gonna kneading. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm using the heel of my hand, I fold it, and then I push. Fold it and push. And push, and push. You're using the heel of your hand. You're also using your arms and your lower back to lean into this. I'm glad I've been working out with weights. This is a piece of cake. Well, guys, I don't think we need the other half. This is sticky, but not too sticky. There are other ways to knead your dough. You can punch it, roll and stick your thumb in. What you're doing is you're working the proteins and the gluten. It's feeling really good. So we've kneaded it to this point where it's nice and elasticy, but not too sticky and kind of bouncy. Took about 5 minutes all in all. This is a pretty big bowl. Now this can sit, like I said, for 8 hours or up to 5 days. No more, then it starts drying out. It's gonna grow in the fridge slowly. Keep it in the fridge. We're gonna wrap it up tightly. Then we'll look at it tomorrow and then we'll talk about next steps on making rolls. Here is our dough. You can see that it's grown. It's about doubled in size. And I've actually had it in the fridge for a couple days. And like I said, it's good for 5 days. I just need some rolls for tonight. So what I'm gonna do is cut off 1/4 of the dough. I'm gonna rewrap this so I can use it the rest of the week. We're going to create Fantans. And these are really, really fun and pretty. So flour your Silpat, and this is our dough that we worked on, and it's been in the fridge for at least 8 hours. This has actually been in the fridge for a few days. So what's great is this dough can sit all week while you make dinner rolls for your family. For Fantans, we're going to want to roll out a rough rectangle. So I like to kind of pre-shape what I'm going to attempt to do, and it makes the rolling a little easier. Okay, I'm gonna get my rolling pin. So we're looking at a roughly like 13 by 9-ish kind of rectangle. Okay, so with Fantans, they look like little fans. So what we need to do is spread some butter on this, and then we're going to cut 1.5-inch strips. What you could do at this point, when you're brushing your butter, is you can sprinkle some Parmesan cheese. You can do a brown sugar cinnamon and do more of like a sweet Fantan. You can do some fresh herbs on top of here. Whatever you're going to put on the top of this is going to end up being in between your fan. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in a sec. So here's a little Parmesan. You can get creative and put whatever you want in the middle of the Fantan, in the middle of the fan, the creases of the fan. Put a little sprinkling of basil. And we'll do a little dash of garlic. How about that? All right. Now we're going to layer one strip on top of the next. This is a fancier, dressier dinner roll, and I usually make Fantans like for Thanksgiving or Easter. They're really pretty, and the cool thing, like I said, you can put whatever you want in between these strips to get a little bit of interesting flavors in your roll. Okay, now I'm going to get a muffin tin. All right, I sprayed my muffin tin liberally with some nonstick cooking spray, and I've got it to the side here. Actually, let me see if I can get it in camera for you. There you go. All right, now we're going to cut this. Set them so that they're gonna fan out like that. All right, we should get 12 out of them. I was one short, so at any rate. So we're gonna let these rest for an hour. I'm going to cover lightly with some plastic wrap. Also get a lint-free towel and set it somewhere undisturbed, kind of dark. And they're gonna grow for an hour. So the Fantans have been sitting for a little over an hour, and you can see they've grown a little bit. They're gonna grow even more in the oven. These need to bake for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're golden. So in the oven they go. The oven has been preheated to 400. Our Fantans are done. They're nice and golden on the edges. You can see how they fanned out. They look like little fans. These usually take about 15 to 20 minutes, but they do have a lot of butter and or margarine, so they tend, you gotta keep an eye on them because they'll brown up pretty quickly. I'm gonna put these in our bread basket. There they are. our Fantans. See how pretty they are? That's why I kind of, the little extra effort I like for the holidays. So they're delicious. Enjoy. Thanks for watching this kitchen basic on Fantan dinner rolls. Hopefully you have gained some confidence working with yeast and making some dinner rolls for your family, and keeping that dough on hand all week makes dinner rolls really, really easy. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and join me again next Friday. Ciao.